Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Mindful LCA. Today we're going to be talking about parenting and some parenting strategies for gentle
Y-
parenting.
Yes. We're gonna talk parenting, even though I'm not a parent.
I got you. Luckily for you, I'm going through the struggle, the
Woo-hoo!
responsibility.
I can give you the theory, and then Steve can give you the life experience with.
hmm How you doing today?
I'm better. I'm super excited. This weekend I haven't been like this excited the last 3 weeks. My little brother is here. He's turning 30 this Saturday, so we're going to be celebrating him. So I'm super stoked to celebrate his life.
Nice. Tell him
Yeah.
to get ready to get hair in his nose and in his ears like a motherfucker. That's what happened to me when I turned 30. There's hair in my ears and my nose that just never ends.
Is that a thing with guys or people that are born with penises? Because I don't have any hair on my ear nor
Yeah,
my.
my shit is nonstop now. Ever since I turned 30, like I feel like every other day, like I fucking pull a hair out of my ear, and then like
Really?
my nose never ends. Yeah,
That is
it
so
just never ends.
interesting. That's so interesting. It doesn't, it doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. So I mean, I feel the same way. I'm doing better. We have a conversation that we had, and I'm paying attention to more to the parenting stuff. I had a feeling yesterday when I went to spend some time with my 7-year-old on a walk
Hmm.
that gave me like a stupid amount of fulfillment.
Mm.
Like it just felt really well. Like, okay, if I can do this, I've succeeded in life. Like I
Yeah.
just got that kind of feeling in there that said like that because it felt good to just be with her and spend time with her alone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good.
just feeling good, feeling good.
Good.
All right,
Good.
it's a good transition to the parenting.
Yes.
Hit us with it.
Parenting. Um, like in recent years, the term like gentle parenting has been thrown out there a lot, and from what I see like on social media, people saying like this like gentle parenting doesn't stuff doesn't work. I think there is a misconception of what gentle parenting actually is. Um, so I wanted to explain a little bit of like the difference of what people think it is and what it actually is. Um, so you and I come from very um, my brain just stopped working. Because there's two terms, and I know one is not that bad and the other one's like bad, but I'm like right now my brain's like which one's which. um Authoritarian, authoritative.
Authoritative. I think that's what it is.
I think they're both a word. um
If not,
yes.
you just made that shit up and it's cool.
No, authoritarian. Okay, yes, that is the, we don't want that one. That is the one that you and I grew up with. So the the style of that is as a parent, like there is that hierarchy, and I don't necessarily disagree with the hierarchy in terms of like it is, as a parent it is my job to keep you safe, so I may do things or tell you to do things um, that are going to ensure your survival and to make sure that you grow up as, I don't want to say good, but um, the best that you can. But the authoritarian stance is like, porque yo digo, because I said so, and my way or the highway type of thing.
hmm
Um, and if you don't do what I tell you, there's going to be like rough consequences, and it could be anything. Like it doesn't have to, but a lot of authoritarian parents um, will fall into some type of abuse, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. So that is what I grew up with. If my dad didn't want me to do something, I wasn't gonna do it, and I would ask like, why not? He would say, porque no, like because I said so, right? So that is very much how authoritarian parenting has worked, and what I grew up with. I'm assuming you grew up probably with the same parenting style.
Yeah. Um, maybe like earlier in my childhood, definitely. I think as soon as I became a teenager, they just let me do whatever the fuck I wanted, pretty much.
Mm,
It was like there was no actual thing. Maybe because of my fucking size, and I'm taller than both of them. That just seemed intimidating. Is kind of the thing that I think about.
fuck you up.
Yeah. So I kind of just had the freedom to do whatever I wanted. But yeah, I think. I mean, I have to just think back into early days of childhood. I'm pretty sure that was the case too, and if not, I definitely seen it in a lot of people where, yeah, it's the same thing. That's the way. I mean, and I just know for 100%, like based on my experience, how that shit doesn't work.
It does not. So parents, don't do it. It doesn't work. That just makes kiddos be afraid of you, and people many times misinterpret fear with respect. They're like, oh, my kids respect me. Like, I think they're afraid of you. People will not
Yeah,
necessarily respect you. um
yeah.
so authoritative parenting is actually, it's so there is a authoritarian, there's permissive parenting, which is like the kids own and rule the house, which is also not a good thing.
Mhm.
And that's on this side of the spectrum. And like somewhere in the middle is the authoritative parenting. So it's a balance between structure and independence. um, so they, and that is a little bit of where respectful parenting, conscious parenting, gentle parenting kind of falls. And I actually like that a lot. So a lot of um, gentle parenting or respectful parenting, conscious parenting, what it does, it helps you set boundaries with your kids, keep them safe while letting them, there's something on my lip that's bothering me, I don't know what it is. um while allowing them to like explore and kind of like learn on their own.
Mhm.
Mm, like setting boundaries, but like they're very, they are very engaged, and part of the process of parenting is not just like, well, I'm told this and this is what I have to do. Like those kiddos are, parents do explain to them like, this is why we're doing whatever it is that we're doing, is not just because I don't want you to do X, Y, or Z, but this is, um, and we'll get into it a little bit of like how doing that you help them build their upstairs brain, or like their prefrontal cortex, with planning, cause and effect, consequences, all of those good things that we want an adult human to have. So that is what gentle parenting is is more like.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and
When
it prioritizes connection, to respect between the two, even though I am this this person that is empowered because my job is to keep you alive. There we, what we lead with is this part of like, I want to make sure I connect with you. Go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say like that when I learned this, whenever this was a couple years ago, I'm assuming, it really made sense to me because my brain or my mind works in that way that if I know the reasoning, I'm more tend to understand it and more to follow it.
Me
So then I
too.
was like, okay, so that makes complete sense that like I have to explain why certain things are off limits, why certain things need to be done, so taking the time to explain that, it's
Yeah.
it's something that I definitely see. That I do with both of them, with both of my daughters. Of definitely explaining to you. Like the
Yeah.
one thing that I told her at some point, maybe within the last year, was like my job is to protect you from things. So it's not that I'm being mean to you, not that I'm being just rude or whatever. Like some things are off limits, and it's for those reasons because it's my job is to protect you until
Mm.
you learn how to protect yourself, and you'll learn that as you get older, and you're doing it on your own little by little. But that is my main job. So That's why you can't do this. That's why this is not okay. That's why that, because at the end of the day, it's to protect you from that. While at the same time, within, I think, with things that are smaller within the circle, you already kind of touched into that, within a safe space to be like, okay, well, go ahead and do whatever you want, and then live with the consequences of that, and have that thing to see how that affects you. Within, obviously, not gonna let her like fucking grab a knife and cut herself. Obviously, I just keep within safe, within
Okay,
safe things, right?
deal with the consequences of that.
Right, within a safe thing that I see that
Mhm.
it's like, okay, you didn't do this, okay, well, now you gotta live, you gotta have deal with those consequences. You decided to do this, you gotta live with those consequences, everything that you do. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like one
Mm.
of the um what would it be, like the tenets or premises of gentle parenting is the part of natural consequences, right? Because a lot of like the consequences that um traditional parenting follow, they don't necessarily correlate with like the action. Like for example, if like one thing that my dad used to do a lot would be like if I didn't clean my room, I wouldn't be able to go out.
Mm.
And I mean, I was older then, but like it doesn't, like how is me not cleaning my room going to like, it's related to me not going out? Like I don't understand. And or like a lot of the kids are not able to make that connection, right? You're like, if you don't finish your food, you don't have iPad time. And it's just um like it doesn't help them make that connection in their brain of like why one goes with the other. So a lot of what gentle conscious parenting is those natural consequences, right? Like if you don't eat your food, that's okay. The natural consequence is you will be hungry at some point,
Mhm.
and that consequence is like gonna make you cranky. It's going to make you want food, and then we're like, okay, there is food right there, so then we need to go back and put it in the microwave. I don't want to eat that. Then okay, you're going to be hungry, so you decide, right? Like um instead of like, well, you don't get your iPad. um it
Mhm.
doesn't make sense in their brain. So
Yeah, that was a one that I saw in one of the books too, I think, that I read, that kind of stuck with me, was like for like with grocery shopping, right? Like you don't punish them the same thing by maybe saying, well, you don't get to go to the park anymore because you misbehave at the grocery shop, at the grocery store. It's more like you don't get to go to the grocery store because you're misbehaving at the grocery store. That's connected to the thing, like you're getting the negative, the consequence of you are not behaving in this situation, so you no longer get to go to this situation. It's directly corrected to that. So it's
mhm,
not even a form of punishment. It's just what, it's happening because of your actions in there.
yeah,
It's not punishing you and just letting you know that this is unacceptable, and you no longer can come until you show that, you know.
yeah, yeah. And I think like uh you share this, I don't remember if it was either with me or like you shared it on your story, which I thought was pretty on point and very related to what we're going to talk about, like this part of um parenting is not so much about controlling your kid's emotion but your own, right? And I think like we as in, not me because I'm not a parent, but parents, they, a lot of their parenting many times is driven by their emotions, and that is where like we fuck up, right? Like I remember, um again, my parents are authoritarian. The story that I'm going to tell came from like very permissive parents. So I, one day my mom and my sister went with my auntie and my cousin to Target, and my cousin would she would get whatever she wanted at any point. So then they were at Target and she wanted X, Y, or Z. And then her mom will be like, no. And then she'd be like, I'm gonna cry. And she's like, I'm not gonna get it. Even if you cry, I'm gonna cry. So then she threw a full on tantrum at Target. And what did mom do? My auntie like got her whatever it was so she could shut up, right? Because she couldn't deal with her own emotions, maybe of like shame, embarrassment, whatever it is that my kid is having a tantrum at Target. Um, and so the kid got away with that. So a lot of people think that that's what gentle parenting is, but that's not what it is. The and my sister was seeing this, and they were little. My sister was seeing this, and then she later said, there's a story that she later said as an adult. She's like, and I looked at you, mom, and I was like, huh, if I do that, would I be able to get whatever it is that maybe like a candy or whatever? And then she looked at my mom and she'd be like, nah, she will kick my ass. Let's just not, right? Like, so, but that's not okay either, right? Because then now my sister is an adult. She doesn't show emotion. She
Mhm.
represses those as much as she can because she's supposed to be the good child. So either one of those on both ends of the spectrum, what is not what we're looking for. Somewhere in the middle where kids are able to express their emotions while parents are still able to hold those boundaries.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. It's 100% true that you said about like it's about controlling or it's about us and our emotions. I think the more that I've healed, the more that I've grown, the less reactions I have emotionally. Like as you can see the correlation, right? The more that I don't, the more patience that I have, the more that because it's realizing again, well, why is this so fucking triggering to me? And healing that part of it and going with that, that's have made it a lot more. And
Yeah.
having the awareness that when I make a mistake and when I yell, when I lose my shit, having that awareness to be like, okay, like you fucked up again. It's okay. You're learning. Go apologize to them. Tell them it's not their fault. That it's my fault 100%. That I was unable to help and that I was so triggered that I just closed down and said or did something that was not okay. Um, because definitely a lot of it is they push our patience. They test our fucking anger. They do everything like that, you know. So if you want to learn how to be patient, it's definitely having kids is like one great way to do that. It's a reflection again on how it just reflects on us, you know, and not even yeah, definitely patience is the main one. Um, but yeah, it's definitely 100% about controlling ourselves because when we deal with it in a proper way, in a calm manner, in a way that we're not emotional, we do the right thing.
Hmm.
Not just with them, with us, with ourselves, with any other people, with anybody else. You know,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
Um, okay, so we're gonna be talking about troll strategies. They come from The Whole Brain Child. It's a book written by Daniel Siegel and Tina Payne. And many people don't like this book. I don't know why. Um, but when I read it, I was like, oh my God, this shit fucking works. And I do it both with like, cause I've worked with kids as a therapist. Um, I do it with my little clients. I do it with, with my inner child. I do it with friends' kids, and it works every fucking time. So,
Yeah,
uh,
because we talked about this is the same thing. It's about the same shit that you need to do with yourself. The same thing that you do to do in any other situation with anybody else. It's literally going to explain how important it is to do that because it's not so much even yes it is about parenting but it's just about everything at the same time.
mhm,
It's
mhm,
about ourselves and other relationships, not just about that. It's how you make how do you deal with any person. It's not just parents,
mhm.
you know. How do you deal
Yes,
with not with just kids? How do you deal with any person in any situation?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the brain is composed by obviously many different parts. We have the left, which is more of like your math skills, your more of like the logical side of the brain.
Hmm.
And then you have your right side of the brain, which is more like the creative, like music, dancing. It's kind of there. So as a parent, part of your job is to make sure that whenever there is an emotion, whenever there is a conflict with your kid, you need to help them integrate both sides of the brain. Um, the other day I was somebody said something to me that did not land the right way. Like it just didn't. So then I tried to, like, my inner child was like really angry and really mad, and my present self was trying to tell her, like, hey, just because this person said this to you doesn't mean they don't love you, doesn't mean that they're not your friends, blah blah blah. But the message was just not landing, because I was trying to redirect her before I like paid attention to what was going on with her. So the first the first strategy is called connect and redirect. So the part of connecting, we need to first connect with excuse me, with the emotional side of the brain, which is like the right hand side. The moment we connect with that emotion, we have a um, more of a chance to be able to redirect the kiddo to whatever it is that we want them to do, or to be able to mitigate the situation, right? So connecting with the emotion first before we give a solution, because I don't know if it's ever happened to you when maybe your kid is like wanting, I don't know, a fucking donut for dinner, and maybe you're like, I cannot give you a donut for dinner. One, because I don't think it's good, and two, because we don't have a fucking donut, and it's like, I don't know, 9 p.m. and shops are closed. I don't know. And they're like, I want a fucking donut, right? And you're like, here, let me, but I have pan dulce, let me give you pan dulce. And they're gonna be like, no, because you're trying to redirect that
Hmm.
emotion. So it's first, we need to attend to whatever emotion is going on. If if they're getting angry about it, is you tap into that anger, like, oh my god, you're really angry that you can't have this donut. That makes sense. Sometimes I get angry when I can't have whatever it is because I want a Ferrari and I don't have that, right? So whatever the case may be. So connecting with that emotion, when we attune to that emotion, then the nervous system does they get me. They can tap into the anger with me. So then the kiddo learns that whatever emotion they're showing, that it is okay for them to show that emotion. And you as a parent, you're gonna be there to hold them in that vulnerability. Once the
Hmm.
kiddo is like, okay, now we are more calm, then you can be like, okay, we can't have the donut, unfortunately, but I have pan dulce, or I have whatever Cheerios, whatever they get. These are your options. Which one would you choose? But if we try to give them the options without attending to the emotion, they're gonna tell us to fuck off.
Yeah. The example that I have for that that came up to me right away, and I think I talked about it in another episode, was the one where I was watching MMA fighting, and Mia was some lady got a terrible cut like in her eye somewhere, and it was
Mm,
pretty big. So then it was a really big screen, right? Because we were at a restaurant, and she was just scared of like she was just scared, right? She was like right away she started like crying and being super scared because they showed it on the big screen and a close up of the big cut. And I went to right away to be like, no, it's okay. Look, it's not real. It's just pretend. I mean, it's just a thing. This She's not a big deal. Look at her. She's standing up now. She's walking around, whatever. Da da da. And it was not working. And then I was like, okay, address the emotion first. Oh, I can see how it's very scary for you, huh? Because you never experienced anything like this. It's a new experience for you, and you're scared for her, and you want her well being, right? Is that it? She's like, yeah, that's what's happening, and that. So then I was like, yeah, I understand. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I didn't realize how it is for you, and I was just trying to, because I was already. I know it's not a big deal for me, but it's a big deal for you. So then we addressed that stuff, and as soon as I did that, then I said, well, yeah, look around everybody else. I know this is a fresh experience for you, and it's scary. And now I was able to do what I initially said, like look around the restaurant. Nobody's scared. None of the grown-ups are crying. I realize it's hard for you because you're a kid. And then I actually went into this is why we try to protect you from seeing certain things because you're not ready to see them. And yeah, surely enough, like a minute later, she was doing her like little jumping, which means like I'm feeling better. She just does her
mhm,
little bobbing up and forth, right? So then I caught myself jumping to the distraction before the connection and all that, and then I realized that wasn't working. Then I connected, and I made her feel validated, and that it was scary to see that it was okay for her to be scared because it was something she never experienced. Then I went back to the other one, and it just completely worked. Like that image will forever. I high five Celia out of my own thing. Celia didn't know what the fuck was happening. I just like high five me. I did a great
Like, I
job
need
here.
this. I need this right
Yeah, yeah.
now.
So that's one example.
Yes. So as you're talking about it, so I want to show it. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, but there is this little girl who is having um like she's just having some like big feelings, and the person that is like I don't know if her caretaker, her dad, I don't know, but she's having this emotion. He does such a good job at just like staying calm, right, and just saying like, what's wrong, like I don't know if we can like play it,
Yeah,
but
I'll put it up right now.
this is a beautiful example of what connect and redirect looks like.
Okay, I'm going.
Anyways, yeah, as you
Percent.
keep doing that, and I guess like with the okay, go ahead. I cannot hear it.
Can you hear it? Okay, gotta
No,
end it. Hold up. 1 second. There's a specific setting that I have to do here when I go in there.
that's okay. As you're doing that, the other thing, the second strategy. So the first one is connect and redirect. Connect with the emotion, and then redirect your kid to whatever it is that you are wanting them or needing them to do. And the second one is name it to tame it. Kids don't have words for the emotions. They just know that they're feeling some type of way. So as caretakers, it is our job to make sure we give them the name to whatever it is. That is how we connect with like the logical side of the brain, because that is where labels live. Um, so when they're having the emotional experience and you give them like, oh my god, you're like sad, you're like really sad, and I think in this video at some point the person's like, oh, you're big sad, like he's reflecting what she's feeling. So then later on when she has similar experiences, she's going to be like, oh shit, I'm big sad right now. You can
Yeah.
go ahead and play it.
And who you feed.
What are you crying for? You're doing a good job breathing. But why are you sad? You're sad, sad. Big sad. Why are you so sad? Will you please tell me? What's wrong? What's wrong? I don't know what's wrong with you unless you tell me. Please tell me what's wrong. Please.
So even right there, he's trying to redirect, and obviously she can't, right? Because we need to still connect with the emotion.
Will you tell me why you're crying, please? Why? Because what? What do you want to cheer you up? Some food and some music, you said? And what kind of music you want to listen to?
Fraggle Rock has music.
Oh, you want to watch Fraggle Rock?
Yeah, that has music.
You want to watch Fraggle Rock and have a snack?
Yeah, Fraggle Rock has music. It sings. The music is before it starts.
Okay.
So that makes me feel happy, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
And maybe a snack?
Yeah, maybe.
That'll make you feel happy too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
You can surprise me, whatever you want me to have.
Okay. I'll try to make you happy, okay?
Okay.
Goodness gracious.
How do you feel?
Happy.
Happy?
Happy.
You're ridiculous.
But see how
You can
like
get whatever you want.
like he wasn't trying to like rush her through it. Like at some point, right, like when he's like, tell me what's wrong, tell me what's wrong, like trying to access that logical part, she's not able to articulate it because she's very much in that emotional brain. So it's just him being able to just sit with her of like, wow, you're big sad right now. What I would have done differently is just like, just let her know like it is okay, even if you don't know why. Like, you can stay here as long as you want. I got you. Let me know once you're ready. I don't know, like the video cuts off and then comes back again, right? But when she was, I'm assuming she was allowed to feel her feelings when she comes in, and then she's able to like the redirection part. And you see a beautiful job was like she's still feeling the emotion, but then she, like, you see when she like kind of looks up, she's then now accessing her left brain, the left side of the brain of like, okay, what could make me feel better right now, right? And then she starts brainstorming things. I like how she does with the little hands. So you can like choose what you want, like what you want me to have. um that that is her using her whole brain, um being able to still be in the emotion while accessing the logical part of it. And the naming it part of like, oh, it seems like you're big sad, you're like big sad right now. So giving labels to the kiddos, so that when they do experience that emotion within their body, they're able to name it. And once I know like, oh shit, I'm sad, I name it, then I'm able to tame it, then I'm able to do, okay, I'm feeling big sad right now, what usually makes me feel better? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich and whatever rock that show that she said. So those are the first two strategies.
Yeah, definitely. You see the big contrast because I definitely did experience the part of like, get up, you're okay, don't cry, don't cry. I still see that a lot. Like, it's okay, you're fine, don't cry, get up, you're fine, don't cry, don't cry. Which is even worse, right? Because you're not even you're not even doing anything. You're not even letting them feel it and stuff. What
Mhm.
I try to do now, once again, when I'm in the right state of mind, is I try to just like embrace them. Like, I just call them to give me a hug, and I try not to tell them shit. Like, I just like that. And then even if they don't want to, then I respect the fact that they don't want to hug me. They just want to sit there and cry or be mad or whatever emotion they're feeling, you know. But
Mhm.
having them give me a hug and everything, and then it just be that, and then we can talk about it. It's a big difference from trying to, because at some point I just had the knowledge to be like, okay, tell me what it is. We'll identify it, and then they'll help you from there. And then I was just leading with that shit, you know. That's what I used to do before when I had that little bit of knowledge. But now it's like, okay, like, let them be in their feelings, let them experience that, and come and just hug them and just be from there, and you know, and that's it. And then the rest of it is easy work because now they already are done with that part, you know, and they feel
Yeah.
okay that they felt those emotions, and then we go into what is it that you were feeling and why, and naming it and all that stuff.
Yeah, like, and we'll go into that is one of the strategies when you say like, and we go back and kind of like go through that experience. That is also one of the strategies. So look at you doing gentle parenting. um Okay, so the other thing, aside with from the left and the right side of the brain, we also have like the upstairs downstairs brain. The downstairs brain is like essentially your limbic system. That is where like core memories are formed. Any type of big event, big memory that has a um, emotional, what's the word I'm trying to use?
Wait.
Yes, thank you. Big emotional weight tends to live in our limbic system. So those are like, if y'all have should have watched Inside Out by now. um, that is where how core memories are formed. So those live in our limbic system, and our brain, that's also where our instinctual survival strategies live, where your fears, your emotions, core memories. So whenever we experience a big emotion, it is going to come from our limbic system. And what happens is if this is your limbic system, this is your upstairs brain or your prefrontal cortex, where the logic lives, I guess the cause and effect, the planning, all of the like your conscious self that kids don't have. Impulse control also happens there. So if this is like your brain right now, you and I are cool, we are regulated, we are not in a big emotional state, we can think clearly. But whenever the limbic system, there's an emotion that hijacks the limbic system, all of the other emotions, or all of the rational thinking go out the window. Like we don't have access to that. If you when you're born, you come with your downstairs brain ya integrado, like it comes like whenever you have a baby, it comes with a package. Like that is there. The upstairs brain, your prefrontal cortex, is something that you as a caretaker, you need to help your kid with. Impulse control, cause and effect, planning, like all of those things, that think before you do things. That is your job as a parent, as a caretaker, to be able to help them. You have to build their upstairs brain, help build it upstairs, because it's kind of like yeah, kind of maybe there the structure is there, but you have to make it pretty, and you have to build this staircase so that when they have a big emotion, you're able to access both. Because as a kid, they only, whenever the limbic system takes over all of this, and some of us, we didn't get that staircase. So when the limbic system or the downstairs brain hijacks our brain, we still don't have access to this. So then we have adult tantrums where we're having toxic behaviors, unhealthy behaviors with other people in our life. So in order for us to help with the upstairs brain downstairs connection, the third strategy is the engage, don't enrage. So as a caretaker, whenever there is a big emotion, like let's say it's anger, right? Like the kid threw the cup for whatever reason, and if we get upset at them, like, oh my god, no te fijas, or you're not being careful with what you do, like that's only going to make the emotion even bigger, and that is not going to help.
Yeah.
If there is a big reaction, then we need to make sure that we engage the upstairs brain with the kiddo, right? There's another video, I don't know if you've seen it, where like there's a kid walking with like a cup that is like full of something, and then he spills a little bit, and then the moment he spills a little bit of it, the parents like the parents almost like foresees coming that he's gonna drop the cup, and then he's like no 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 no, and the kid just goes like just completely like drops the cup, and it spills everywhere. Right. So then he was really stressed of like, I'm wet, I don't like the sensation. And the kid is, I don't know, maybe like 1 or 2, and he just goes right. So he doesn't know in that moment what to do, right? So then as a parent, your job is for you to stay cool, collected, and be like, oh, some water spilled, well, what do you think we should do? Maybe let's clean it up, right? That is the part of like the something happened, a cause, what is the effect of that? Or something happened, how do we plan now for it? So if once the kid spills, like, oh, there is water on the floor, what should we do? And the kid can then start brainstorming of like, oh, maybe getting a paper towel, right? So like that is the part of you engaging the prefrontal cortex, so they are able to use both of like in a high stress situation, both the downstairs brain and the upstairs brain, so you help them build that strong staircase so that we don't have adult tantrums.
Yeah. What I was thinking when you were saying about that, how they don't have that idea, or they don't have the front or the upstairs brain. I think that's very important, because we fucking think like that we expect them to behave like they're grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing that we forget all the time. It's like we think when we're fucking emotionally caught up, like they're on purpose fucking with us,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like they're not. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have the skills, and
You don't.
you're getting that angry. Neither do you. So check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh,
But that's the shit,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So like you have to remember that part, and that's the thing that I was struggling, and I mentioned a few episodes ago. Of like, oh, I'm just gonna treat them like they're kids because that's what they
Yes.
are. Like, why am I putting such a big thing on them, and why am I assuming that they're just fucking with me to fuck with me to not listen to me, and that they're just kids that need to learn all these skills. And by me being upset and thinking that they're fucking with me, then I act on anger and I act on pain myself. That is not okay. You have to remember that. Like I often when I hear parents, it's easier said than done, complain, but he doesn't listen, she doesn't listen, he doesn't do that, and I'm like, how much shit do you know you're supposed to be doing as an adult that you don't do?
Uh-huh.
Like we all know we need to exercise. We all know we need to stop eating fucking pan,
I don't know what you're talking about.
and we still do it all the fucking time. So then, as a grown ass 35-year-old that can't fucking regulate that shit, why am I being such a hard ass on a fucking 4 and a 7-year-old to be
Mm-hmm.
able to expect to listen and receive the information and put it to action right away? That's just fucking ridiculous for me to expect that from a little kid. And
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're expecting them to behave like adults, and that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. And I think it's like it's even funnier when there are parents that and again, right? Like I'm out here talking shit. Like I want to be very mindful of like I am not a parent. I've not experienced this, so I am sitting from they're saying in Spanish que dicen los toros se ven más bonitos desde la faena, right? Like I'm over here from an outside perspective that is not in this shit, living that shit. Um so being mindful of that privilege, but like kids or parents having a big reaction to their kids emotion and letting them know or ordering them like stop fucking crying, like you should know better, as they should know better, and having this big ass reaction of like you're literally doing the same thing that your kid's doing. The only difference is your kid is crying and you're fucking pissed, but you're both having a meltdown at the same time, and you as an adult are asking your kid to have their shit together when you don't have your shit together right now.
You don't
So
have it, and you're not showing them. You're unable to teach them because you don't have it together the actual proper way. It's the
right.
same way the same way I feel about fucking spanking and hitting them. Oh, it's okay to the shit because they're misbehaving, and I'm like, oh, so I can beat your ass too if you're being misbehaving as an adult. Does that give me the right to fucking hit you or to smack you in the back of the head whenever the fuck you're not listening or not paying attention? What's the difference? Like, what's the difference? Just
Yes.
because you're like, even I should have the right to fucking hit you even more because you're 35, 40, 50 years older than the fucking kid you're complaining about. So right there, um, but that's a big part of it. That was a big aha moment for me to realize like they're not doing it on purpose. They're learning, they're struggling, and have to remember once again, my fucking as a 35-year-old, I can understand and put shit like I know the information and I don't do the behavior that's required to do shit better. So why am I being so hard on them to change this behavior or receive the information and put it to action? Like I said, it's just
Mhm.
not, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So remember that literally in a different way of putting it, remember they're developing, they're growing, they don't have the fucking
Yeah.
thing yet. So if you remember that part and you give them the thing, another shit that happened to me that made me realize that and be more gentle to them. Like I don't know if it was which one, Mia or Leah, they close a drawer on their own fingers and they didn't know what to do. I don't remember which one it was. So they closed the drawer and they're sitting there crying and like not knowing what the fuck to do, just stuck. So then like I pulled it back and then I realized like, wow, you're a fucking idiot. You're so frustrated about the fact that they're not listening to you. They didn't even know that they had to open the shit. They don't even know how to, they can't even realize that closing the drawer on their fingers is causing them pain. And you're over here expecting them to behave like much more, adequate to what the fuck you think is right based on your age. And you lose the perspective so badly,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
You
So then
do.
that was like another. Oh yeah, they don't have it developed. I just like that. It was like it's just a fucking dumb like little kid that doesn't have it yet. Like why are you being so hard on that? I remember that's how I described it to Celia. was like, they're little. They don't even know. Why am I so frustrated? And she doesn't even know that she hurt herself by doing that way, or that is causing her pain. And I'm over
Yeah.
here super stressed out, you know?
Yeah. And to put a little bit more perspective into it, right? Like we have this arbitrary age. I don't know who decided this, that like at 18 you're an adult and you should know better. Um, the brain doesn't stop developing until your mid 20s. So you're technically not an adult in your brain development until you are in your mid 20s. So
Mhm.
asking a teenager, like if you have different kids, and even you've done it, right? Like you've mentioned in the couple episodes ago how with Mia, you're like, you should know better because you're older. You're like, and I'm like, but she's 7. Like she still has like 18 years before she knows better. And even then, right, like if depending on how strong of a staircase we build with her, that's how better she's going to know. So if you have kids and you have this expectation on this, like the older one, the teenager, that they should know better, know that their fucking brain is not done developing. Like
Mhm.
you as a parent should know better, so you as a parent should help them
Yeah.
um, build that strong staircase.
Yeah. Because that information enough to remember that literally their brain is not even making the fucking same connections as you should relieve you of all the stress and give you that much more understanding towards their life.
Yes.
Give me 1 second. I'm getting a call from talking about it from Mia school. Give me one
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. I thought it was a call talking about our daughters. It was a call from the school, and it was just to let us know that they practice earthquake stuff. Luckily, it wasn't anything worse than that. So I said I answered that call.
Good. Good. Um. Okay. So the next thing to help them build that staircase is use it or lose it. Right. Like they we need to exercise if we want our muscles to grow. It is the same thing with the brain. We need to use it. We need to use it. We need to practice it. So when building that staircase, because we're helping them with cause and effect, the planning, being proactive, so you can use little opportunities throughout your day to ask your kid, like in situations like, oh, if Mia comes home and be like, oh, Jane Doe was being mean to X, Y, and Z with this. You as a parent can be like, cool, and then move on. Or you can be like, oh, really? She was being mean. So what happened? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Like she said something mean, blah, blah. Okay. What would you have done in that situation? How do you think they handle that? Oh, maybe I could have done this. Oh, okay. Help me understand why you would have done that. Well, maybe if she needed a hug or whatever the situation may be, right? Like when you're asking them, like, what would you have done? You are, I was going to say forcing them, but not forcing them. You are helping them access the prefrontal cortex, right? So the strategizing, the planning, um, looking at like the future or in retrospective, that is a very good way for you to help them build that staircase in low stress situations, right? Because those are also very, very valuable. So yeah, you can do it with like a game of, you can make it fun, pues. It doesn't have to be like all like, let's sit down and have this conversation. It could be anything, right? Like maybe you're passing by and one of the fire hydrants is like leaking water, and you can be like, maybe they want to get wet, right? Like, oh, what? There's a fire hydrant that has water. Like, what would you do right now? I kind of want to go in there. Okay. We are still 5 blocks away from the house and maybe it's a little cold. Like if you go in there, what do you think will be the consequences of that? oh, I'm gonna be cold on the way home, I'm gonna be wet, blah blah. Okay, so do you still want to go in there, or do you not want to go in there? Right, like these things. So like, oh, it's leaking. What should we do? How do we make it stop leaking because it's wasting water? Oh, maybe we should call it in, or like, I don't know, like nothing. Whatever situation, you can always help them putting hypothetical situations so they can start working on that, on being proactive and developing
Yeah,
the parental
I
control.
saw something similar that I think it goes kind of with the same thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of perceive it as the same thing with what you're doing, but it's more about like identifying the feelings, right? So there was the example was like, oh, I drew something, and they go and like they tell me they draw something, they go and they show me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, baby, like I love it, it's amazing. They said that that was like the wrong thing to do. What you can do instead is saying, oh, like I love it. What do you think of it? So that they learn to create their own perspective also at the same time, and they learn to see how they see it, so that they don't get it was a little bit different now that I'm thinking about it, because they don't like validation or all that stuff. But then again, by asking them how do they feel, the practice is again to ask yourself, how do you feel about it,
Yeah,
right?
so that
So it
that
was
way
in
you're
a similar way.
yeah, so what you're talking about there is because we grew up with a very like ranked system in terms of intelligence, in terms of um like if you get an A, that must mean you're intelligent. If you get an F, then that must mean you're stupid. So then when we tell a kid, good job, or this is amazing, all of these things, we are their value as a human, their worthiness as a human comes from external things. So if I then don't do a good job with a drawing, then that must mean I don't have that value, right? So then by you asking them, what do you think about your work? One, you're giving them like, I value your opinion. Whatever you have to say about you, about your drawings, about things that you accomplish is important. So that creates that inner dialogue for them of like, I can do these things. And regardless of whether I do a good drawing or a bad drawing, I am still worthy of these things. Because many of us have grown up with this external um, attachment or external grasp on what our value or worth as a
The
human.
validation, right? Like
Mhm.
external validation,
Yeah.
instead of coming from us, from getting it from how they other
Hmm.
people perceive it.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. The other one is move it or lose it. So again, when our limbic system hijacks our brain and we don't have access to our cognitive self, because this is where our instinctual responses live, that is very tied to our body, right? So then if we sense any type of danger, then our bodies are going to release beautiful chemicals that are going to help us stay alive. Um, Adrenaline, cortisol, like all of those help us to survive. So then when kids are having a stressful situation between not being able to have access to the blue cup when they only have access to the red cup, for them that is the fucking end of the world. Like that is the biggest worry in their life. So to them it's a dangerous situation, so their body's going to respond. So what we need to do is help the body be able to release those chemicals. So we need to move their bodies to get those chemicals out, so that then we can engage the upstairs brain. So moving them, their body is going to help them again regulate their nervous system and access their upstairs brain. Movement helps you calm down.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely. I mean, we already discussed that, right? Like when you feel a lot of energy in there, you gotta get that moving
yes,
to release that energy.
yes.
that from the anger, frustration, whatever it might be that you're feeling. It's vital that we do that.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it is if not recently there have been studies, right? If we have an emotion and we let it do its job, we've talked about it before how it takes about 90 seconds for it to come in and to go out of the body. But if we repress them, we repress emotions, they can have like a long lasting effect of up to 7 years when we are constantly repressing those emotions. So I don't know about y'all, but I'd rather deal with it for 90 seconds than to deal with it for fucking 7 years. um,
Yeah.
so help those kiddos move their body, because even and I use this with clients a lot. I'm like, think about a kid, like literally think about a baby. Whenever a baby's crying, what is your natural instinct to do? Is like you pick them up and what do? You rock them. How do babies usually fall asleep? You grab them and you pet them, right? Like, and you're moving their bodies. um that is how we release those survival chemicals, and how we are able to soothe their bodies. So it's no different than, we're still human. It's not like our physiologically like our physiology changes as we how we function as humans. So if you're having an emotion, move your body.
Hmm. That's why
Move.
exercise like does wonders, right?
Hmm.
It's the same thing. Like that's what I've been paying attention to lately, and me going back consistently to the gym and exercising is like, oh, look at this fucking feeling, and I get the feeling after 20, 30 minutes of the exercise, and then I'm like, okay, sit on this, pay attention to how good this feels, and be like, this is what the fuck you want to feel. This is the reason why you're doing it, how it relieves, and you just feel more at peace and more happy as you're doing it now. And the music is feels great, and you just get almost in this euphoric fucking feeling for a little bit because you're doing what your body needs and giving it that movement.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
So just
That,
yesterday the girls were fucking super energized. I was doing my coaching call and I finished, and then Celia's like just super frustrated. And I'm like, okay, let me go for a walk with me. You handle one room, I'll take the other one. Because I know if it's this late and they still have a lot of energy, most likely they need to release some of that. So then I was like, okay. So then I took Mia for a walk, came back and slept like a baby. I had trouble waking her up today. So she even herself at that time needed that movement.
yes, yeah.
Hmm.
Movement before bed is really good too.
Yeah.
Movement before, a lot of people are like, oh no, no, we need to wind them down. I mean, you do, but the best way for you to wind them down is to get that energy out. So um to help
Yeah.
with gosh, there's like so many things that I can get into, but with proprioception, it is your awareness of your body in a space. I have horrible, I think mine is not good. Like I am clumsy as fuck. Like I can have like this here, like I can literally see it and I will knock it down because I'm not aware of where my body's at. So
Mm.
one way that you can help kiddos to be better with their space awareness is you flip them on their head, you swing them, you throw them, right? So those types of exercises are really good to do before bedtime.
Mm.
So
I'm gonna
you're,
tell Celia that.
yeah. So, why did you like
Because
that?
she doesn't like it. She's like, you're riling them up. So you're doing the opposite. We're like, hey,
But
mama
again,
told me.
you're getting that energy out.
Yeah. Because I mean, as you were saying that, I was thinking how even in me, when I'm fucking tired or right before I get that like energy drop after actually like working, let's say when I have the pictures for several days in a row and weddings and not sleeping and exercise and shit, I just fucking end up being like goofy as fuck and have hella energy. And I'm just like, okay, this means I'm about to crash in a little bit and I'm gonna pass the fuck out, Because the body even then is like, let's get rid of this shit so that you fucking slow down, So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So start throwing your kids. Start um
Against the wall.
No, not against the wall. Jesus. Should I call CPS on your ass? Throw them like on the bed, swing them,
Yeah.
put them upside down.
Just
Anyway,
look at
God,
animals and look at how they're playful and do that.
how they
Like,
what?
because all the animals are playful like that. They
Oh yeah,
roughhouse like that,
Mhm.
do all that shit. Pretty much,
Yeah,
that's the same thing there.
yeah. Rough housing actually helps with proprioception
Yeah.
because some of us are really bad with it. It sucks ass. Um. Okay. I think this is a good place to stop because we talked about the left and the right, and then the upstairs and downstairs. The other ones talk about like memory, um, but I don't want to start it and then like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that'll be a
we'll
part 2. The next
yeah
one, the
we'll
next
be
episode, we'll just
we'll
do a
be
part 2.
yes, will be a part 2. Okay. And the last thing I want to say that it is that it's important. I wanted to say at the beginning, but I forgot. When practicing gentle, respectful, conscious parenting, um, you need to be aware that every behavior that your kiddo has a function, is trying to meet a need. So we have 5 needs as humans. So pay attention to which one of those your kid is trying to have met. They don't know this obviously, but like you as a parent, that it is your job to help them translate that or interpret that for them. So the 5 needs are: I have a need for safety, right? Like as parents, obviously that is your job to make sure that that kiddo makes it alive as much as possible. Um, so yes, so it is the survival need, so safety, security, life. The second one is the belonging aspect, so connection, affection. I want to be loved, I want to be able to love. Whenever this is very common with, especially with Latino parents, when 2 adults are having a conversation, and Mia does this a lot, and she wants to like give her 2 cents, right? And people are like, stop interrupting. Adults are talking. She wants to connect. She just wants to connect. Right. So instead of shutting her out, then be like, let her put her fucking input. Like it is, I mean, if it's a conversation that she shouldn't be hearing, then we probably should not be having it in front of her anyway. But if 2 adults are talking, if she wants to interject, it's because she's wanting that connection. The third one is power, right? I want to make sure that I feel competent, that I feel able, that I feel challenged, that I matter, that whatever I have to say, it's important, that I can have an impact, right? So then maybe with, I don't know, setting up the kiddie pool, and she's the one that wants to fill up the water, right? Like I can be a big kid, like I can do this, I have the power to be able to fill up the pool. The fourth one is freedom, right? That they are autonomous beings, that they have a choice, that they have a decision, that they can make choices, and that their choices are going to be taken into account. With power and freedom, you can help them create rules for themselves. Like, okay, you need to go to bed by 8:30. If you're not going to bed by 8:30, what is your consequence going to be? And they get to choose those consequences. So then if kids are given the choice to choose consequences, they're more likely to be more compliant with whatever it is, the task, like bedtime. Like I know because I chose this for myself. So you're giving them the power, you're giving them that freedom, that autonomy. So they're more likely to actually comply. And the fifth one is fun. To be able to relax, to be able to enjoy, to be able to play. Sometimes kids just want to be goofy. That is part of our nature too. So whenever your kid is being like fussy or they're being difficult, ask yourself what one of those 5 needs are they trying to meet that they're not being met, and how can I meet them?
Hmm. Yeah. I just did that with Mia yesterday, actually, now you're talking about it. Celia was talking to her parents, and then she just, like Celia says, I call them, and then the kids go wild. Right. So then same thing after. I was like, okay, Mia, I understand. You want to probably talk to mom and dad is what they call them. You probably want to talk to them. Mommy also wants to talk to them and connect with them. How about we set something up where you like mommy first, and then you wait till she's done, and then it's your turn, and then you can show them the house and the hamsters and the rabbits and whatever it is that you want to show them. They can give you the time so that you both can have the time to connect with that. Literally just did that yesterday because I caught that was what they needed. Right, that's probably what they wanted and why they want to take over the call and do all that, because they also want to connect with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Hmm.
Um, yes. But I think
Cool.
that's a good place for us to stop. Next episode we will do
Yeah.
the other 7. I think we're still missing
Yeah.
one.
I have two comments and two little notes that I took when you talked about the what's like a big deal to the kids, or what is impactful, what is big emotional. We have to remember that, because a lot of times I think we dismiss as parents that wasn't a big deal, that is not a big, that's not a reason to cry, that's not a reason to get
Mhm.
emotional, it's not a reason to get angry. So we have to remember that to them it is, right?
To them it is. Mhm.
Because then we have that disconnect, we can have the disconnect as now adult parents and adult kids, where you just like, no, like the parent can be like, no, what the fuck you talking about, it wasn't like that, and just completely dismissive of it. But we got to remember, if it was true to me and if that's my experience and it was traumatic or it was a big emotional event, it was a
Yes.
core memory that developed, then you have to accept that. And it's
Mhm.
okay for it not to have been to you and only been to me, and vice versa, we have to understand and respect that.
Yes.
And the other thing was that, in a way, we need to pay attention how vital of a role we play as parents, because what you're doing in therapy is giving them that understanding and love and the tools that the parents did. That's literally what we do,
Mhm.
right? So that's literally what I do as a coach, and that's what you do as a therapist. We're giving them those tools, we're giving them the validation, we're walking them through this connection. Then, uh, what was the word? But we're giving them all of those things that you're talking about right now. That's
Yes.
literally what we do. So they're gonna, your kids are gonna. It's so important that they're gonna struggle for their entire life looking for what you didn't give them and getting rid of what you gave them, to the point that they have to go to someone else to then give them that, or
Yes.
get rid of that thing. So in
Yes.
a way, you might not have the experience directly with kids, but you're doing it to other adults and other, they
Mm.
might not be your own, but you are doing the same thing that I am doing to my kids, to other people,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
because that's
You
what
know.
it is,
Yeah. Right
right?
now that you're saying it, that is why I love um inner child work so much, because essentially what I'm helping them do is like reparent themselves.
Yeah, you're giving them, and you're giving them what they were missing that parents didn't give
Yes.
them, or the other way too,
Yes.
taking away what was given too much of, at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no pressure, no pressure, parents out there.
I guess that's why I don't have kids, because I'm like, oh my god, that is a big, 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 big responsibility. Like, it's being a parent is probably the hardest. Not probably. I think it is the hardest job of them
we're
all.
gonna we're gonna end with my same comment of always and forever and
Oh my
eternity, of the
god.
fact that everybody that I talk to that doesn't want to have kids says the same shit about you. That's what would make you a good parent. Because I was not thinking how hard it was when I decided to have kids, and I'm pretty sure 99% of the population out there wasn't thinking how complicated it was going to be, or all that shit. So
Yeah.
you're one step ahead of us, or ahead of
Woo-hoo.
the new parents on the thing, even though you don't have any kids. That's
Yeah.
what will make you a
Maybe,
good parent.
maybe, maybe one day. All right. To summarize, 5 strategies that we talked about. Right. Connect and redirect.
Hmm.
Name it to tame it. I forgot them already. Engage, don't enrage.
Uh-huh.
Use it or lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And move it or lose it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you
There
all.
you go.
We didn't tell them our email and our.
Yeah, that's what I was doing right now.
Okay.
I thought we were
Cool.
going to go to something else. Mindfulpodcastliving@gmail.com is our email for anything that you need in there. Any concerns, questions, feedback, let us know. We would appreciate some feedback. I'm not going to lie. I want to get more feedback than we do, but we will appreciate some feedback.
Speak for
And
yourself.
and then the same thing. Norma's a therapist and coach. I'm just a coach. And if you need us, we'll be there for you. Send us a message if you need our services. Or if you just want to talk, we also have the Instagram group. Don't forget, just create a community amongst people that understand you and don't judge you and are there for you.
Yes.
So yeah, and as always, you're not alone. And
Hello.
take care. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.